My name's Marcus Speller, and this guy's Jim Campbell.
Hello.
We are one half of the Football Ramble. This you probably know. We're on the Football Ramble Facebook page. Of course, we are live. It's FORZA Ramble. We're going to be talking about the football-y issues and Germany v England as well. We'll get to that little nugget in a bit. We'll treat that as dessert, if you like. Or maybe even the good bit of the main.
We having a starter? You having a starter?
We're definitely having a starter.
I'll have a starter if you have a starter.
We'll have an Arsene Wenger starter.
Oh, great.
So it could be disappointing, but it's
again.
definitely going to stay on the plate, if that analogy works, which
it really doesn't.
It probably doesn't. Jim, Arsene Wenger, the reports are suggesting he's going to stay.
Look at your face. Look at your grinny little face. I mean, we said this on the show on Monday.
We did.
I'm not surprised by it. He's an incredibly stubborn man. The thing with Wenger as well is, there's never a situation where he looks at it and thinks, I'm not the man to put this right. Because if we finish in the top four this season and we get Champions League football again, he hangs his hat on that. We've always had Champions League football. He'll take that as vindication of his methods and think, yes, this is the platform for us to build on. That's the pattern we've been in for a long, long time. If he doesn't get us in the top four for the first time in ages and Spurs finish above us and all those little things, again, that he's hung his hat on, fall apart, he'll think, well, I've earned the right to put this right. I'm the guy to put this right. He doesn't seem to look at a situation where he doesn't back himself to be able to solve it effectively. And I think, look, there's a face again. But I think part of it is the problem Arsenal have is they haven't changed their manager in 20 years.
Yeah.
Changing a manager is a big, big thing now. There's probably 6 people's jobs that Wenger does, because other clubs have sporting directors and they have X, Y and Z, they have all these different things. Arsenal don't have that. So
do you think he's overstretched? Is it about time?
He is. Look how big he is. Time? He shouldn't be that tall. Look how big his jacket has to be. Is that stretch?
Is it time for Arsene Wenger to get the support he needs at the club?
Oh, yeah.
That's it, isn't it?
Well, the problem is,
he needs a few minions.
As cheeky as that question is, there is some truth in it, because the fans freaking out all the time, getting really angry in the stadium has been a problem for a long time, and it affects the team. And the team need to do better. The team do need to take more responsibility and just be less rubbish, as basic as that sounds. Because it's the basics that they're getting wrong. And I guess at this point, like, whether he's going or staying, the results need to change. They need to pick up. And this chaos around the club has to change somehow, even if it's just to simmer down for a bit, because whatever his decision is, once it's made, that's it, isn't it? That's what your club is for the next couple of years. You support your team through thick and thin. And I want to talk about the perspective issue as well, actually, because people say, oh, it's worse at this club, it's worse at that club. Bottom line is, I don't care about those clubs. I don't care about them. But I care about Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? So that's the perspective thing. I think fans are within their rights to be as furious as they are.
Get your comments in. Tell us what you're thinking about Arsene Wenger, what you're thinking about any of the sporting issues. What do you think of anything Football Ramble related? What do you think of Jim's wet hair? Turned up today, it was raining outside. I told him it was raining before he left his house. Not that he needs me to tell him that. I'm not Jim's weatherman. You had a hood on your jacket, didn't use it.
Forgot it.
Bloody stupid, if you ask me, ladies and gentlemen. Bloody stupid.
Bloody stupid.
Sat
right here.
Sam has asked straight away, is Jim's hair wet or greasy?
Wet, you prick.
I
love you, really.
Come on, Jim, it's only 1:30 in the afternoon. Well, it's bound to be past the watershed somewhere.
Yeah.
Tapping into that tricky Far East Asian market.
Pete swore, so I'm sorry, Sam, that was rude of me.
Robbie Maguire has said, Marcus, who comes in if Wenger goes?
Well, that's an interesting one, isn't it?
He's always asking me.
I know.
I think that Arsenal should copy what Manchester United did, because obviously, a manager for a long time, David Moyes. David Moyes. Come on, everybody. I think get your David Moyes in bold brackets.
I think Bruce Rioch again. Get Bruce Rioch back.
Bruce Rioch. What about George Graham?
I think he's probably done now. You get Bruce Rioch in for a season.
George has said that. That's not George Graham. Get me back. It's George Jones who's saying get Arsene Wenger, get George Graham back. Andy Whitford has said, what if Wenger moved upstairs?
See, I've thought about this as well, because
that
that
death,
would be the most... What if you go upstairs? It kind of sounds like it means death.
He becomes the man upstairs.
I've thought about this, and wouldn't it be the most Wenger move to just become the director of football and sort of do a Tim Sherwood and manage from afar?
Hey, we'll talk about Tim later. We'll talk about Tim Sherwood in a bit. What else have we got here? Harry Brooks has said, tell you what, Marcus, you are looking more Higuain than Pesky Salido today, mate. Very Latin facial hair. I appreciate that. The goal-scoring exploits would back that up. People often think that I have a soul patch here, but that is just—it's not. It's the sort of same length. It's just a bit darker than the rest of the
natural soul patch
of the facial hair.
A soul patch.
Well, I suppose so. Yeah.
Goal patch.
It's a goal patch, Jim. Very, very good indeed. Yeah. So people saying that Arsene Wenger. Yeah, it's a bit. Well, Paul Horswood has said, "How about Stevie Mac to bring the good times back?" Presumably. That is
a rhyme that's never been said before.
Yeah,
it should always be said from now
on. Peak Fitness has put in block capitals, because I was just talking giddy nonsense a second ago. Bold brackets, David Moyes, bold brackets. I really appreciate that. What I was trying to say is that everybody get on block capitals, of course, in the comments. Yeah. But Peak Fitness, you are proving your fitness very much there. Jimmy Mox, David O'Leary to reunite his babies.
Well, imagine that.
I don't know if that's a completely different issue that we're unaware of, or indeed it is get David O'Leary back at Arsenal.
O'Leary is an Arsenal legend, isn't he?
Yeah.
And do you not remember? It said, "Don't talk about my baby."
No, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, cool.
Yeah, I just wondered if this was something.
Should we explain that? Most people probably don't know what that is.
When he was at Leeds United, and they had a number of youth players, and they were saying, "Oh, do you think that you're going to have to try and keep hold of them, or do you think they will move on?" And he said, "No one's touching my babies. No one's touching my babies, Jim." Which every good father should adhere to, of course.
It was like Taken, in a way. It was like a prequel to Taken.
In a way.
Like a special set of skills.
Now, you said that some of the Arsenal players have performed badly, which is very fair, Jim, it's safe to say. But Peter Cech's just been voted Czech Republic Player of the Season for a record 9th time. Not all of them are that bad, Jim.
Do you remember when Ash, and this is quite niche,
the band
Ash won an Irish Music Award? In like best band in the year that they only had, I think, the single from A Life Less Ordinary out, and they were so embarrassed to accept it. They were like, "Yeah, we've only had a single out. I mean, come on."
Oh, it was a belter.
You're making it look like we're mugging off Ireland here.
That's right. Yeah,
Petr Cech must feel like that.
We've just been told something wonderful by the effervescent John Grove, who's involved in the Ramble behind the camera now, which is just as well because he's not wearing very many clothes. He said that the biggest selling album in Irish chart history, when they will reveal that at the end. Get your guesses in. Which album do you think is the biggest selling album in Irish chart history?
I said it wasn't surprising. Marcus disagreed.
It is surprising.
Facts, though.
Damien Cunningham, really getting to the core of Ramble business here. Has Pete ever speared anyone with a corner flag? I don't know.
I don't know, so I can't say no.
Yeah.
That's very much...
You remember the incident
Pete is about.
The incident you're referring to, I don't know whether it was a corner flag. Oh, dearie me. Wonderful stuff. Speaking of corners, Roy Hodgson...
Professional.
Roy Hodgson, in the press today, defending the fact that Harry Kane was taking corners for England.
Why now?
Because
he's that shell-shocked.
It was an interview in The Big Issue.
Right. Okay.
So make what you will of that. Before we talk about England, though, let's go back to the Premier League. Jose Mourinho reckons he's more mature now at Manchester United.
It's not really true, is it?
Yeah. The bans and fines would suggest that he needs to mature up.
Actually, you know what Mourinho has changed about his manner? Is he's got this sort of false modesty now, isn't he? And this false kind of humility where he's always complimenting people. Do you remember after the Middlesbrough game where they beat Middlesbrough and he was just devastated. He was gutted because his friend Aitor Karanka had lost the game. Yeah. But Mourinho was acting like, I don't know, like he just...
It's a bit insincere.
Like just run his dog over. You know what I mean? Like it was hugely insincere. Yeah. And that's a sort of... I don't think that's that mature.
Yeah, okay, well, fair enough.
Sort of think of that.
Jim, do you think Joey Barton would have been a good signing for Arsenal in 2011? Chris Hinton's asking.
2011? No, I don't. That was one that, he'd have been a very functional midfield player and he'd have got sent off loads and he wouldn't really have... Yeah. He wouldn't have changed anything significantly, I don't think, even with the benefit of hindsight.
Stevie Davis Evans has said, a great name, Roy Keane is looking for a job and he loves Arsenal.
Oh, imagine that. I mean,
kicking and screaming back to the Premier League.
It would be a personal disaster as a fan, but as a pro, I mean, it would be gold for us, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah,
it would be. I'd almost take it, to be honest.
When you say us, do you mean Arsenal fans?
Yes. No, I mean us.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what I mean.
Jay is asking, where are the other two guys today? Under the desk, Jay.
Yeah.
Although I reckon that Pete might be in a building opposite this building because genuinely saw a naked man at the window.
Yeah, we saw a naked man at the window. Marcus pointed that out and went 1-0. Interesting little insight into his days, isn't it?
Hey, it's all about the little victories, isn't it, Jim?
Quite.
You've got to build on the little victories. There we are. Killian says, "Burn, baby, burn." Obviously, talking about Ash, of course. Was that the name of the album? Well, that was the single
from Nuclear Sounds.
Okay.
Terrible name for an album.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Sean Fry is saying, "Give Wenger one more season." While the reality show, so you think you could manage Ayres to find Arsenal's next manager?
Imagine that.
From every day. Yeah,
that's the future, isn't it?
That's great. I do like that.
Do you remember there was a little sort of period where you get football reality shows, like Sky did one, where they were sort of trying to find like the next big player, which the massive scouting network in the country somehow failed to. Yeah. Did someone decent win? It was Scott Sinclair involved in one of those shows, maybe?
Oh no, was it not Colin Kazim Richards?
No, he was the Coca-Cola kid, wasn't he?
Oh right, it's easy to get them mixed up.
Yeah,
with when you're the Coca-Cola kid and you're the sort of
the
Sky guy.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. With regards to the biggest album selling in Irish chart history, Sean Mack has come in with David Gray, White Ladder, and it's right.
Ah, yeah.
He knew, or he Googled it.
Yeah, either way,
he's got it right, hasn't he? That's fair.
Yeah.
I thought it was anything by the Cause. But I was obviously...
is that racist? It's almost racist, that.
Why?
Just, I don't know.
No, it isn't.
It's like you've picked the most Irish thing I can think of. What's the band with the most Irish people in it? That's what you've done.
I don't know. Surely... all right, if I'd have said Jedward, maybe.
Do you know, I'm gonna just,
did they have an album?
Can we just
Who are Jedward? Why do we know them?
Jedward for a bit.
It seems an appropriate platform to do so.
Do you remember what happened to them a little while ago, where they had to get
on the island?
Yeah, the sea rescue helicopter had to come out because effectively got tricked by the tide. They got stuck out at sea.
Right. Okay. Well, on more nonsense stuff, Andy Whitford said, "I like the sound of a ball that's smashed in off the crossbar."
Yeah, I agree with that. Alexis Sanchez scored one in off the crossbar at the weekend, and it's just the best sound. I also love an apple falling into a glass of water or a big bucket of water. Brilliant sound.
A strange insight into your
my day
Friday night.
That's what I'm going to do.
Robbie is asking, Jim, if you could keep Ozil and Sanchez in addition to adding Cavani, but take Pardew, would you welcome him?
I like the idea that I don't have the option of it not happening.
So dear. I'm just checking to see if the naked man was.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't welcome him actually.
All right,
we still get Cavani though. Yeah, so yeah, there you go.
All right, well there we are. Richard has quite understandably asked, "What the hell are you fellas talking about?" Stick around, Richard. Maybe a subject that interests you will come along. So there we are. Sam Cooper saying, Jim, would you prefer Jedward to defend corners? They've got the height on their hair, certainly.
Why not? Nothing else is working. It's got to be worse, can it?
Yeah, let's quickly go back to Manchester United and Jose Mourinho.
Let's.
He spoke recently. It's sort of a dig, really, isn't it? Mourinho spoke recently that very, very few players, apart from maybe Rooney, Carrick, and obviously Ibrahimovic and the more older players.
Yeah.
He said that there's not any big personalities in the dressing room like there used to be at Man United with Keane and Giggs and Beckham and so on.
I mean, is it some sort of reverse psychology there? Is he trying to get them to step up or something? Because that's what I don't understand what the benefit of that, of publicly saying that is. I mean, I've not seen the full quote, so maybe it's been misrepresented.
I think he's just talking. I mean, a lot of people obviously talk the difference between professional footballers now to maybe a few years ago. But he did say that this is an interesting quote actually. From a psychological point of view, the stronger the empathy in a group, the more substantial the bond is between players, and the more ready they are. And he went on to say that I like this. At Inter, I was like a fish in water. In that respect, he said, I had Materazzi, Cordoba, Ibrahimovic, Milito, Thiago Motta, guys who are ready to follow me everywhere. Yeah. And I think he's saying that with maybe a managerial style like his, he comes in and he's like, right, come on, here we go. It's maybe not a soft approach, like Ranieri or something, you could argue. And the bigger the personality, the more you're up for the challenge. Is he suggesting, do you think?
Oh, I think that's probably quite a good way of looking at it, actually, because we've seen this third season syndrome that Mourinho gets, where the players seem to tire of that and it all falls apart. So it's obviously whatever mindset he tries to put in is quite a draining one, quite a difficult one. So if you don't get on board with that, you're going to get left behind. And we see every time Mourinho goes to a club, there are players that end up sort of they clearly fall out of favour for some reason, and maybe it's a tactical approach, and perhaps it is actually that they don't get on board with Mourinho's mindset. And he likes that siege mentality, doesn't he? He likes everyone hates us, let's go and prove everyone wrong.
Yeah.
Like he creates an enemy, and that enemy is everyone.
Yeah, true enough. But it does seem strange to say that there's not the sort of the big personalities. But if that's genuinely what he thinks, he might just be being open and honest.
Yeah.
But with Mourinho, there's usually an agenda behind the words.
Absolutely. It's funny. You know what? Do you think it's maybe an attempt to get more out of Paul Pogba? Because he said Zlatan, Carrick, Rooney.
Possibly.
Pogba seems very sort of, he seems clearly absent from that. And he does need Pogba to step up and produce a bit more.
Quite
And maybe
possibly.
this is a way to do that.
We assume Pogba reads the papers in England.
Right.
Speaking of players from yesteryear with big personalities, Rowett has said, is it true that Kieran Dyer used to go out in Ipswich with a single diamond-encrusted white glove?
Oh, I hope so. That's the only insight I can offer on that. I really, really hope so.
Yeah, some sort of Michael Jackson kind of affair going on there, with respect to the dance floor. Hopefully, just that. They're moving on swiftly. Okay, well, managers who don't like a soft approach, who want a bit more of a firm approach, I suppose, would be Tim Sherwood.
Yes,
He'd be one. Tactics, Tim.
likes a firm approach, all right. Oi, oi. When's Tim
naked-
Sherwood just going to go back to shouting at women out of a van?
I don't know, but as you say that,
Is he
I'm
back?
looking and the naked man is not back. But if you are watching and you're the naked man, then please
Put it away.
Then give us a wave with whatever body part suits you. Tim Sherwood, he's given a stadium ban for his foul-mouthed rant at a referee. This was during a half-time in a game against Bury last month. And the quote is fantastic. I'm sure this will be mentioned on tomorrow night's podcast, going out Friday, of course, the preview show. You're the only effer in the ground that's effing seen at you effing mug, he said to the referee. A lot of swear words packed
Hell
into
of a
that
lot
short
of swear
sentence. Yeah. This is in the referee's post-match report, and the referee said he then started pointing aggressively in my face.
You mug, you mug, you mug.
Let's all do the
Inside.
Sherwood. Yeah, it's just
What's your managerial style like, Tim? Sort of like Danny Dyer. He managed Spurs.
Who, Danny Dyer?
Yeah, Tim Sherwood was. I've thought about this the other day. You sort of forget football moves so quickly, and obviously he was sort of thrust into a position he wasn't ready for.
Yeah.
But with the benefit of hindsight, how ridiculous is that?
That is extraordinary, really, to think that Tim Sherwood managed Spurs not that long ago. Before Pochettino.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Tim. Let's move on before a black hole
break the
appears.
universe. Yeah.
Ravi Mani, favourite sandwich filling?
Pastrami. Love a bit of pastrami. What?
Fine.
What do you mean fine?
I just said that's fine.
I was asked for my favourite sandwich filling.
Yeah.
I'm very hungry because I've forgotten to have lunch, like I do probably 4 times a week.
Uh-huh.
And so what's yours then?
I'll have that as well. Ashley Welsh says, Speller, Jim. Is it time?
Combination of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if we ever got married, and went back to school, your name would be read out like that because you take my name. Is it time to bring back the Football Cup final singles of the 70s and 80s?
Yes, it is.
To be fair, there was plenty in the 90s and I think in the noughties as well.
Yeah, I
You
think-
remember your favourite one, the Aston Villa one?
Yeah, that was different. That wasn't official.
No.
An official relief.
That was-
Villa, we're the Champions.
Yeah, it was for the League Cup final, which I think they lost 2-1 to Manchester United, and
Man United were champions of the League Cup that year.
we're the Villa, we're the Championes.
Was it? It was a lady that had been on X Factor, wasn't it? It was.
It was a lady that
Special.
had been on some sort of television programme showcasing her considerable talent. Where did that question go? Yeah, he was asking, oh yes, if Ed Sheeran can get the whole top 10 full of singles from his new album through the power of young girls and Spotify, what's stopping Chaz and Dave getting to number 1 if Spurs get to the FA Cup final?
Game's gone, mate.
What's stopping Chaz and Dave getting to number 1 with an FA Cup final song about Spurs? Arsenal. That's what's stopping them.
Yeah,
oh, no, it's not Arsenal. They've not got
away
Arsenal.
boys.
Who is it? Chelsea they've got.
Yeah, they have got Chelsea.
Chelsea is what's stopping them.
Suggs.
Yeah.
Suggs is riding high in the chart with Blue Day.
Yeah.
It's keeping them off the top.
Indeed it is, yeah. My goodness. Elsewhere in the Prem, Jurgen Klopp has taken the remainder of his Liverpool players to Tenerife for a training camp, those who have not gone on international duty.
I would love to have a little holiday in Tenerife.
It begs the question, would you rather go away for England duty, or would you rather go out to Tenerife for a jolly out with Klopp and the boys?
100% Tenerife with Klopp. I'll just let England down.
It's a long time. Oh, yeah. I think that's quite a good alternative. If you're not going to be picked, don't worry.
Yeah, genuinely though, for sort of squad morale, that must be great.
I think so.
Disappointed to miss out on an international call-up, as I'm sure most players. It's got to be in your thinking, isn't it? As any professional at a club like Liverpool that you want to be an international. So off you go. Have a lovely little jolly up.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Well, I mean, and off the back of that, Jim, where is it now? Vishnu has said, how many hours of sunlight per week does Jim get?
I don't know. I don't really calculate that.
Yeah.
So I don't have an answer.
You got rained on today.
I did get rained on.
It's not even raining. You and your dark cloud. Paul Horse would have said, not enough. Not enough.
No, I don't. Why, am I looking particularly pasty or something?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're going to get a pasting, though, if you don't chip in with England.
Send help.
With international. Well, England face Germany this evening, of course. It's come to that point of the show where we look forward to a 4th consecutive England win on German soil. Come on!
That's the real win.
England going for a haul on German soil.
Victories.
That's right.
Exactly. Take that.
And party.
Yeah.
It's incredible, really, that England have won their last 3 games in Germany.
It's a strange one.
And
amazing when it doesn't count.
And that is really what the world judges international football on, isn't it? Germany may have won the World Cup in that time and got to a European Championship final.
I don't really remember.
But really, that's the proper contest. Paul has said Jim is whiter than Theo Walcott's shorts after 90 minutes. You know, it's his reading of the game that keeps his shorts clean, I would say. What do we think then, Jim?
To be fair to Theo Walcott, to chime in on him, he's had a decent season. And he's on course to sort of have his best goals tally. And so, you know, come on, let's be nice to Theo.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's not nice, is it? Lucas Podolski, it's his send-off this evening.
Yes,
that's the big story. I think it would be his 130th German cap.
Yeah, that's an amazing one, really, because I don't think...
He's 31!
Yeah.
That shows you how long he's been around.
Yeah, absolutely.
He burst on the scene quite young.
He looked like he was going to be like a real sort of talisman for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, when he first burst onto the scene, it was a sort of... It was a glimpse of just a little bit of the potential he had, but he kind of levelled out fairly quickly, didn't he, Podolski? I think
he did, but he scored a lot of crucial goals for Germany, and he would often score at tournaments.
I think largely he's been better for Germany than he has been for a lot of his clubs.
I would agree.
It's a strange one, that.
Sort of the German David Healy.
Yeah, the German Darius Vassell.
Or,
which I think he'd be delighted to.
I think so, yeah. Or what was his name? James McFadden. The German James McFadden, perhaps, yeah. And the manager, Jogi Löw, was saying that he's one of the greatest German players ever, I think, which is high praise, maybe a little bit over the top.
Yeah, but I think if you're looking at greatest German players ever...
A long list.
Exactly. Yeah, there's hundreds of them.
Yeah.
you can afford that when you got their history. You can go, yeah, whack Podolski in as well.
Yeah,
You've got
true.
A rich old history. So ahead of the game, Marcus, just going to throw an idea at you.
Yeah.
Vardy, Defoe, Rashford,
Sessions.
All of them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
What, front three?
All 3 of them.
Rashford
three on the left, Defoe through the middle, Vardy on the right.
Yeah.
Imagine it.
I'm just watching.
It'd be brilliant. Germany won't know what's hit them, the little slugs.
Yeah, well, because nothing will hit them.
Well, quite. Yeah.
I think that's
a
fanciful idea, but I don't think it's going to happen. John McNamara said, "Is Defoe's inclusion a hashtag disgrace?" Is it a disgrace? John Barnes said that it's a sad state of affairs with English football where they have to call upon Jermaine Defoe, whereas obviously he could feature for the first time, or he has featured in England squad for the first time in over 3 years. Is it that bad? From Southgate's point of view, you have a striker who doesn't look like he's slowing up anytime soon, although Sunderland fans may say that if you watch him week in, week out, he's not as young as he was. None of us are.
No.
But if, there's a qualifier to win in these 2 games, and you're down on injuries and so on and so forth, Rooney, Kane and Sturridge, I think, is injured as well.
Yeah.
Carroll, he's clearly not getting back in the England squad anytime soon.
No.
If he needs to win a qualifier, yes, it would be good. I'd be surprised if Defoe featured against Germany. There's talk of Rashford starting up front. Obviously, Vardy's in there as well. But if you needed to win a qualifier, you've got and say Rashford got injured or something like that, wasn't playing so well, and you needed goals. Is it the worst idea for an England manager? We know how quickly the press and all can turn against you if you get a poor result. You need someone who's a proven goal scorer at an international level, who's played for England. Is it that bad of an idea?
I see
from Southgate's point of view.
Yeah, I see the thinking behind it, absolutely. And it is. I don't think it would have happened without those injuries. So it's just a case. It shows sort of the dearth of options. And I do feel for Andy Carroll, to be honest, in that situation. But also, I wonder, is Southgate sort of looking at Defoe and the season he's had? Because we all effectively we thought his career was winding down when he went to Toronto.
Of course, yeah.
And
I think he probably did as well.
Absolutely, and he's had such an incredible Indian summer. So there's a lot of talk of him going to West Ham if and when Sunderland get relegated.
Yeah.
And if he can keep up, if he can have the sort of season he's having now, next season as well, before the World Cup. It wouldn't be the most mental thing in the world to take him as an option off the bench if we have a similar problem.
Yeah,
so is Southgate looking ahead? Is he looking worst case scenario, thinking I need to get Jermaine in here, have a look at him, and then everyone will get really annoyed and hopefully I can get sacked and get one of life.
Get over with this awful period of being on the England throne. I think I agree with what you're saying, but sort of what you're saying is Southgate's looking ahead in the future and the big picture. Therefore, Jermaine Defoe comes into play. That's but I do
as
agree.
A worst case scenario. Because
what is the worst case scenario? Heskey out of retirement,
lose to Iceland. I don't know how it gets worse, actually, that we fail to qualify, but we probably won't. Do you know what I mean? I guess to clarify what I'm saying is
I know what you mean, Jim.
Southgate does have to look ahead at a situation like this that could happen, because I think Sturridge looks to be a busted flush.
Yeah.
Jamie Vardy's had a strange old season.
Yeah.
He might have a worse season next season.
Vardy,
he's probably not in the running
Vardy
for
will
it.
be all right.
Doesn't like Carroll. Rooney will be older by then. Kane, obviously, if he's fit, will be the first name on the team sheet. Probably future England captain. The way the talking's going. But,
Gary Cahill might be the captain tonight.
Right,
but Kane's not there. So yeah.
So I mean, worst case scenario is just Harry Kane. Do you know what I mean? Harry Kane's your only decent striker. So he does have a sort of responsibility to look around at what those other options are.
True enough. Is it time for England to have a strikerless system like Spain did? Or Ollie Lowe said, I'd love to see... Or Scotland did, yeah, lest we forget. I'd like to see a fully fit England try out a 3-5-2 with Dyer dropping back into the 3 and Rose and Walker wing-backs. Yeah. Thoughts? I'm all over that.
Yeah, I hugely agree with that.
Yeah, nice to have a sensible comment.
Yeah, quite.
But God bless all of you who have said nonsense. We do appreciate that.
Yeah, it's what before.
Yeah.
Walker and Rose, they're exciting fullbacks as well. They're very athletic, very pacey, both got very, very good delivery, and it would give England something that we lack. It's that sort of penetration. Both are so effective for Spurs.
I'm all about the 3-5-2. If you can play a 3-5-2, you have the players to do it. I always think it's a good option. And England do. That's actually one of the things England are quite versatile with. It would perhaps negate where you'd play maybe someone like Raheem Sterling. But then he could support a front man and be sort of given a bit of a free role, I suppose.
He could be like a second right back.
A second right back.
We need a second right back. Loads of fullbacks and Vardy, Rashford and Defoe. That's my plan.
The wonderfully named Drew Devine. We've got a few minutes left, so we'll try and get some comments now. The wonderfully named Drew Devine said, talk about the big game, Scotland versus Canada. I'll tell you what, Drew, you're in for a treat if Tom Kearney's wand is being waved around the pitch tonight.
The hat derby.
Yeah.
England's hat and America's hat.
Unbelievable. So there we are, yeah. FYI, this is from Ro, who talked about Kieran Dyer. Reportedly, the diamonds on Kieran Dyer's glove spelt out his name. Dyer.
I really hope that's true.
It's Dyer.
It is.
Or in every sort of sense.
Probably still got it. It's not the sort of thing you throw away, is it?
No, certainly not, yeah. So there we are. Oh, Germany have got some injuries tonight, which is interesting. Ozil could be out. Neuer,
Form is injured.
Gomez as well.
See, you know what Gomez is? It's a great example of an older player who's still trusted to be in a squad.
True. I mean, I think Gomez is only 31, maybe.
What?
Yeah, you would think he was older.
Mario
Gomez. Yeah.
He can't be 31.
He can't be 31. Well, he's in his early 30s. But yeah, you're right. He was brought back out of the. But this is a guy who did score 40 goals in a season once.
I know, mate, but look at what I have to work with.
It's all relative,
I'm not
isn't
saying Grant Holt go back in there, you know.
Yeah, well, now you're talking, yeah. David Keeling saying, who's the 2 in a 3-5-2, though?
Who's the 2 in a 3-5-2?
Kane, obviously.
Yeah, Kane and Jermaine Defoe.
Might I suggest it's more of a 3-6-1?
Ooh.
So you've got pack that midfield, that midfield,
and Sterling,
Dele Alli supporting.
Yeah. I think that's right.
It is right, Jim.
Yeah,
that is. We've solved Southgate's conundrum right here. Grimmer has said no chat about Kosovo, Iceland so far. Disappointed.
Well,
we did mention
from Iceland.
Yeah, Roy Hodgson was talking about Iceland in the big issue, saying that it's consigned to the history books and he's moved on. I've got a feeling that a lot of England fans won't have moved on as quickly.
No.
But you'd fancy Iceland for that one, Jim?
Oh, absolutely. They're a giant of the game.
Yeah, but
there's no shame in losing to them.
Kosovo, an emerging nation on the football world. You know, they've done okay so far. But yeah.
There you go. There's your Kosovo-Iceland
Yeah,
chat.
for crying out loud. We spoke more about Kosovo versus Iceland than Canada, Scotland. Didn't even mention Ireland versus Wales. We're too good for you. John McMurray says, Jim, do your stand-up routine. I'm sorry, but we're coming to an end.
Yeah.
So there we are. But Mario Gomez is 31. I think that's either Luke or Pete getting involved from the Ramble account.
I'm astounded by that.
Yeah, how about that, eh? So there we are, ladies and gentlemen.
The same age as Wayne Routledge.
Is he really?
I think so. Because we were talking about this recently. Wayne Routledge is surprisingly old.
He's 30s, Jim, definitely. Just one more office quote there. Right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the end of Forza Ramble for today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. We've talked for half an hour there.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's been wonderful, and your comments fueled that. We've been very happy to receive them. Thank you very much. You've helped shape the show, as have you, Jim. The naked man hasn't returned,
no.
So I'm going to have to go over there and find him myself.
Yeah,
so
we'll have to investigate
we're
this.
all off to find a naked man, and if not, then Jim will fill in for him, no doubt. Do check out the preview show on Friday. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Lots of love.